Post-it. Post-it beam. Little post-it on the beam. Let's get it. Post-it. No. Post-it. No.
Hello, everyone. This is Dawn Trush, and I'm here to explain an innovative educational technique called Write and Stick. It's so simple that you can use it anytime, anywhere. You're going to want to stick around and watch this one.
You know I love you, Pinocchio. Our money is the flip and post-it, bro. It's money well spent.
All right. By the end of this presentation, you, the viewer, will be able to describe how to use and actually use a new teaching strategy called Write and Stick. Basically, what it is, it's a way to engage your audience or your students or your participants. And what you do is you basically put a question or a subject on a whiteboard or a piece of paper and have people fill out Post-it notes answering that question or addressing that idea and stick them on that board. It is that easy. There's many different variations you can use, and I'll explain that in just a minute. Is it easy to use? Well, what do you think? It's about the easiest thing so far that I have learned about. So yes, it is an extremely easy technique to use. Just come up with a topic, write it on a piece of paper, separate the students into groups, hand out the sticky notes, and let the fun begin. So yeah, it's really easy, and like I said, you can use it just about anywhere. The time that it takes a very, very short time to prepare. And to do the actual activity, it can take as long as you want. It could take 5 minutes, it can take 10, depending on how many questions you ask. So that is up to you, how long it takes. The materials required, just a whiteboard or a pad of paper, walls to hang it on, maybe some pens, markers, and of course, as many Post-it notes as you want to distribute. The environment you need, it could be in a classroom, as you see on the left, or a large conference room, as you see down below. You just need the ability to break everything up in groups. So I'm going to give you an explanation of how it's done here. So on the left, you see that I wrote on the whiteboard how you can use this technique to be a pretest. So I divided the questions into what I already know and what I'd like to learn. The students will fill out 2 Post-it notes answering those 2 questions and stick them up on the board there. And then we can kind of address those things and see what they already know and see if there's any similarities, any differences, that type of thing. On the right, I did something that applies more to my students. I have nursing students, and it says care of a person having a heart attack. Students are coming up with ideas how to care for someone with a heart attack. So they're answering. They filled out a Post-it note and they stuck it up on that piece of paper. As you see, there's many different things that you can do if someone is having a heart attack. So they as nurses need to know that. Options you can use. I noticed that some of them were meds and some of those were actions. So we separated everything into those 2 different categories, medications and actions, and looked at those 2 things separately. You can also use Write and Stick to prioritize. And as nursing students, they really need to be able to prioritize, okay, what do you need to do first versus what can you do later? And someone wrote, give a medication. If you see on the bottom left there, that doesn't really apply. And we can talk about that too, why that doesn't really apply or why that might not be the best thing to do with someone having a heart attack. So we can address many different things. This allows students to collaborate, to work in groups, work together, that type of thing. Is this a good idea for teaching adults? Why, yes, this is an absolutely wonderful idea for teaching adults because adults love to collaborate and brainstorm, and it's a great way to get them involved in the learning process. So here it is in action.
We have a framing question to take us through the day, inspired by the talk that David has given us.
Working with communities, we use collaboration all the time.
We'll co-create around one specific topic.
How might we use connectivity to help local communities?
One round is Post-it notes, and then we'll share back and we'll iterate with another round of ideas.
Design thinking is key to everything, often by collaborating visually, using Post-it notes, paper, markers, pulling together a picture that people can agree on about their environment.
Connectivity is any media that connects people. breaking down barriers to access. If you have one that sounds like that, let's move them closer together. Simplification, so that's up there.
Forming groups of like-minded people, mentorship and inspiration.
Get resource tools, I guess, such as an app, a magazine.
Excellent. Thank you for your contribution.
Okay, as with everything, there are pros and cons. The pros are you can use it in both large and small groups. You can move things around, organize ideas, categorize ideas, prioritize ideas, that type of thing. And also you get to use sensory motor, your hands-on, your movement, you're moving the Post-it notes around, you're working together, you're collaborating. So it's always good. It's a great way to increase understanding of a concept. It's inexpensive. It's easy to understand. You could use it anywhere, anytime. You could even use it last minute. Those are the pros that you can take away for that. Cons, some people might not want to move around. It's sometimes hard to get people to stand up, move around, and contribute. And also some people just don't like to work in small groups, especially with strangers that they don't know. So those can be your difficulties there and your challenges. For those people who have trouble joining groups, you can also use Padlet.com. It's an online program that you can sign up for free, add people's emails, and you can basically put a board up on the board using a projector. You can use a whiteboard or you can use a smart board. Put it up in the projector, and then people add their Post-it, so to speak, onto that board, and it comes up in real time. So that's kind of neat to use as well. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope now you have another strategy that you can use to keep your students engaged. Thanks again for watching.
Post-it on the back.
Little Post-it on the beat.